everyone, and welcome to another high-low game of Age of Empires. Today, we're going to find out if Mr. Yo can channel his inner snake, his inner viper, as he, playing as the Dravidians in red, takes on Hera, playing as the Celts in blue. Now, all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP. Why don't we take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today? Now, the Dravidians, we saw them very recently, are a civilization that likes to focus on its infantry. To start with, all of their barracks technologies are half price, and they can upgrade every single infantry unit to ignore enemy armor, essentially turning each Dravidian infantry unit into a Lithuanian Latus. This is, by the way, great news for their unique unit, the Urumi Swordsman, a medium infantry unit that gets a massive attack boost, plus 12 or plus 15 if you're the elite version. And unlike the Custelier attack boost, this charge attack, if you want to call it that, comes with trample damage. Now, to support their infantry on the battlefield, all Dravidian siege units do cost a third less wood. This villager doesn't know if she wants to chop the tree down here, doesn't know if she wants to go up here. Where is this villager going? Mr. Yo sends her to the southeast of his perimeter of his settlement to go get lumber over there. Now, the Dravidian siege, all of it costs 33% less wood. Their cavalry also benefit from the upgrade I just mentioned called Woot's Steel, whereby their infantry ignore enemy armor. The same applies to their cavalry, but before you get too excited about the cavalry getting that feature, remember the Dravidian cavalry line is notoriously terrible, quite possibly one of the worst in the game. Their skirmishers, their elephant archers attack faster, and their elephant units can be upgraded to regenerate health. Yet to support its military, Dravidian fishermen do carry extra seafood, and by the way, looking at the mini-map, what is going on this Arabia map? I'm seeing 5 lakes, so we may very well get to see some Dravidian fishermen carrying 15 extra fish, extra shore fish, box turtles, whatever the heck it is that exists in these small little lakes. Not something we've seen, or at least not something I've seen very frequently. 5 lakes on Arabia. Oh, we are reclaiming the desert, says the developers of Age of Empires as they insert more and more water into a more and more arid map. And last but not least, every time the Dravidians go up in age, they do get 200 wood for free, which essentially does help a lot in the early stages of the game when villager allocation and resource management is pretty darn essential, and anything you get for free is pretty darn good. Now, pivoting to the southeast, or maybe just the plain old east of the map, we've got Hera playing as the Celts, a civilization built around their need for speed. Celtic lumberjacks work faster than normal, which is great because Celts need lots and lots of wood for their primary focus, which is siege. Celtic siege workshops work faster, their siege units fire faster, and all siege workshop units can be upgraded to get more HP. Now, coming back to the need for speed, Celtic infantry units do move faster than normal starting in Feudal. Their castles, their towers can be upgraded to attack 33% faster, and their unique unit is the Woad Raider. This is the second fastest infantry unit in the game, and one that comes with a pretty good amount of HP, strong attack. We have seen the Woad Raider absolutely demolish many a different infantry unit. Now, in order to feed a big, hungry, growing population, the Celts can convert and steal enemy herdables, even if there are enemy units standing right next to them. So Mr. Yo is going to want to keep a very tight leash on these goats as he researches loom off the back of 18 villagers. Probably once this is complete, we'll see maybe some forced food drops. Yeah, 4502, there we go. And we're going to hit Feudal for him off the back of 18 villagers. Hera doing the exact same thing. Both players have 0 idle time. Both players loom for you, so they should be going up at pretty much the exact same time, which is well, there you go. They are, I believe, going up at the exact same time, which gives us 1 minute and 30 seconds to look at their bases and see what the heck is going on, where are the resources, and or we can see any maybe weak points that they might want to exploit. Primary stone for our Dravidian, nice to the back. Primary gold kind of in the middle, but not really on the attack path, which is very, very nice. Additional gold and stone, nice and secure to the back. Additional gold just a bit north of the town center, and the forests very far away. He's got 2 forests. I don't know if we're going to count this as a third, although I'm looking at Hera. He has 1, 2, 3, which means Mr. Yo's got 1, 2, 3. Age of Empires pretty much here and there. There might be some slight variations in map start generation, but on the whole, pretty symmetrical, I would say. Mr. Yo's saying, you know what, my forests are a little bit too far away, so I'm just going to wall off very close with a barracks, a few houses, and see what's going on. Seeing what's going on, though, is our Celt, who has now discovered where our Dravidian is. Our Dravidian, oh goodness, did he lose his scout? Yeah, I see. Oh, just as the town center matures. Yeah, the town center got that scout. I completely missed that. I apologize. I might have missed that on screen, or if not, it'll be in picture. But looks like so far, our Celtic town center is the one to draw first blood as some of the villagers get up here to the second floor and start firing arrows. Always reminds me of those Resident Evil games where you have to withstand the zombie hordes in a tight confined space, like an upstairs room or something like that. I'm very much off tangent here. Let's take a look. Primary gold, also not really to the back forward, but more middle, but also off the attack path. And Hera notices that and immediately walls it in. Where's your primary stone? Also kind of to the back center. Additional gold to the north, additional stone very exposed to the front. So on the whole, Mr. Yo's resources are much better located here. He's got 3 out of his 5 patches to the back, 1 gold nice and secure. Hera's basically got nothing to the rear position, unless you want to call this Tetris piece to the rear position. Everything else, middle, forward. Yikes, a very ugly base here for our Celt, who also has 3 forests in a very, very unfortunate placement. The entire north, the entire west of his settlement completely open, whereas Mr. Yo at least has these 2 forests. So on the whole, as much as I said the spawning is generally symmetrical, very much in favor of Mr. Yo's spawn right now, as opposed to our Celtic spawn. I'm gonna stop saying the word spawn. It's kind of creeping me out. I don't know why. The starting position of the Celt is worse than the Dravidian one. We'll see if Hera agrees or disagrees. We'll see if he's the one who's going to be putting on the pressure. Lately, it's been Mr. Yo who is spaying and neutering the wildlife population across the map here, who has been the one putting on the aggression with tower rushes. For now, I don't see any villagers, nor do I see villagers on stone for him, which means we're going to get to see a nice sentient human rush as opposed to a structural rush. Hera perhaps suspecting that his opponent is going to do some kind of aggressive movement. Already has 2 skirmishers, 3 rather, skirmishers out. He is training a 4th and a 5th as the 4th one pops right out here. So we'll see what Mr. Yo can get accomplished here. His archers are nice and safe for now. It's 2 skirmishers running interference, but essentially once Hera decides to engage, Mr. Yo will have to disengage. He's not going to risk losing these gold units in exchange for a few skirmishers. And where is Hera's scout? Continues to circle, continues to look. How does this always happen in Age of Empires on Arabia, where the relic is somehow always in a Hakuna Matata situation, surrounded by ostriches and camels and zebras and horses and wild animals? Somehow they always spawn next to the relic. They know, proximity to gold and proximity to relics is going to make them very, very happy. Maybe they'll get a bit of that relic holiness rubbed off on them. For now, Mr. Yo not really accomplishing much. He's brought along 6 skirmishers of his own. Does get revenge on Hera for getting the first kill, as now he draws his first blood of the game. Second blood. They're starting to lose units, both of them. 2 kills for Mr. Yo, 3 kills for Hera. No villager kills, which means their economies are running full steam ahead. Mr. Yo does have 22 seconds of idle time. Hera, 0 seconds of idle time on his TC 15 minutes into the game. It is incredibly, as much as resource management is important in the early stages of the game, having less and less TC idle time cannot be overstated how important that is. Mr. Yo is almost, well, now Hera, of course, as I open my big mouth, has 2 seconds of TC idle time. But for example, to train a villager takes 25 in-game seconds. So if you have 25 in-game seconds of TC idle time and your opponent doesn't, you are essentially 1 villager or loom behind, because loom also does take 25 seconds, unless you're the Goths, in which case you get it in the blink of a Gothic eye. Being down 1 villager, if the game goes on an hour, being down a villager, not the end of the world. But in the early stages of the game, what I mean by that, I shouldn't say if it goes an hour. In the later stages of the game, being down 1 villager, obviously not a big deal. 140 villagers to 139 is not the end of the world. But in the early stages of the game, being down a villager is very much important. That is a lot of food. That is a lot of wood, gold, or even stone. that your opponent is getting in excess of what you're getting, which means extra units, extra structures, a bigger settlement. In any event, pedantic lesson over. Let's take a look at what's going on, because we have engaged the skirmisher wars, which are, let's put it like this, not the most popular, according to some viewers and people who comment on my videos. But Hera is going up to Castle Age off the back of 38 villagers. Mr. Yo continues to pump out more and more. Now, as long as Mr. Yo can keep Hera's skirmishers here to the right, these archers are going to be very annoying to these few farmers that they can reach. He does have +1 attack and range, as does Hera, but Hera also has an armor upgrade for his archers. Does give up the high ground. Why did he give up the high ground? He has a good number of units here. What's their HP like? And no, their HP is great. I'm curious as to why Hera gave up his position here on the high ground. Maybe he wanted to maneuver closer to the archers, which now pivot to the eastern shores of Hera's base as more and more reinforcements. But look at the minimap. More and more reinforcements were streaming in, but no longer Mr. Yo rushing up to get 800 food, 200 gold, so that he himself can click up to Castle Age. Might want to force drop some food. Okay, never mind. He waits. He clicks, but he is literally just under 2 minutes away from going from his opponent. So Hera's going to have a nice 2-minute advantage in Castle Age. We'll see what he decides to do with it. Let's take a look at his infrastructure. Okay, so perhaps a knight or two are going to come out. He's got a barracks and archery range. Blacksmith to the south. So Hera has done an amazing job so far, keeping Mr. Yo's damage to a minimum, although right as there should be you know, like in The Office, there's the Dundies, those silly awards that Michael Scott gives out. There should be the Casties, and one of the awards should be biggest mouth, because the second I say Hera has no TC idle time, he racks up TC idle time. The second I say Mr. Yo hasn't killed any villagers, he guns down a villager here, a lumberjack. Anytime I say something, it's yeah. Words have power, words have meaning. What's the end of V for Vendetta? Mr. Creedy, you can kill me, but you can't kill an idea. Bit of a jumble here as the skirmishers enter their own dead space. Remember, skirmishers come with a murder hole radius where they cannot attack anything within, I believe, a 1 tile. Which is why you'll see a lot of moving before you see a lot of attacking. And Hera, at the end of the day, clears up. See, now I'm concerned. It must be, yeah, minimum range 1. I apologize. Sometimes I know the answers, but then the doubt kicks in. Doubt spelled D-O-U-B-T, not the player. Doubt, who we saw yesterday with Hera, gangbanging 6 players. Sometimes the doubt sets in, and you know, you just got to double check things. 3 town centers for our Celt, who is now ahead 2 villagers. Our Dravidian hits castle, gets that 200 wood, which, by the way, is a huge chunk of paying for a new town center, which is 275 wood, and it plops down a second of his own. We'll see if Hera gives him the time of day. He's going significant infantry here. Is our Dravidian 6-7 are now moving forward. They surround the knight. Hera paying attention, kind of, but not really. Does manage to save the knight. No player has a castle yet, but our Celt does have 10 villagers on stone, whereas our Dravidian has none. So I'm assuming first castle will go to our Celt. Sorry about that. My mouse clicked back and forth a little bit there. Now the skirmisher can't do anything but take it as that unit enters in. Any attack upgrades? Yeah, +1/+1 for these swordsmen. But Hera knows these are just plain old melee units, and so I can just wall off even with something as basic as a house, even though he's got 450 stone, saving every single rock, every pebble that he can for a castle. Looks like the town center here got a kill. Yeah. This one's still on the 1 kill. Okay, so these killer Celtic town centers so far proving themselves to be quite worthy. Mangonel pops out. This is going to change the dynamic here. Hera needs to get this house up. Needs to save this house, although might want to bring more than 2 villagers. That was the HP. 130, 120, 80, 70. So it will fall. Hera realizes it, runs away, but brings out this bad boy. The game's only spellcaster is enough to shoot away these slower moving infantry units. 15 long swordsmen are en route to the base. There is now a mangonel our Celt. Remember, the Celts do not get redemption, which means there is absolutely no way that our Celt can teeth this Mangonel with his monk. Ooh, volley fired. Monk runs away to the town center. And now Mysterio's, for the second time, putting on the aggression, has breached the base. But now he's got to contend. There it is. There's the scaffolding showing us that it's a big fat castle. So interestingly, our Dravidian and our Celt are, oh, be careful, not too unevenly matched. Who's kidding who? I mean, the only difference in terms of upgrades for their infantry, except for, of course, like I said, the Dravidian, anything that comes out of a barracks, the technology is half price. But aside from that, in terms of which specific techs the players get, the barracks line units are identical. The only difference is the Celts don't get squires because they don't need it. Remember, their infantry units, now that we're past Feudal Age, move 15% faster than normal. So even with squires, the Dravidian infantry moves a little bit slower. Ooh, good attack round there out of blue. Manages to take off a whole bunch of HP. Mysterio says, I've got enough units here. I don't care if you convert 3 of them. But I see 3 Woad Raiders are on the menu here as they move forward. Big infantry battle here just exposes the Mangonels. They go after the monks. But Mysterio's infantry have racked up 6 villager kills to the right, to the left. They're going to die to these Woad Raiders. And look at that. I see, oh my goodness, now 10 dead villagers, 42 kills apiece. Like I said, the similarities. And then once you factor in that, factor in that these siege units for the Dravidian cost a third less wood. But then you factor in that the siege workshops for the Celt works faster, and anything that pops out of here fires faster. By the way, anything that pops out of here fires faster too in terms of a treb. The similarities are very interesting. You don't really think about it, right? As the Dravidians and the Celts having very similar. Oh, Hera pulls a Viper and walls in the last remaining swordsmen who die. Mysterio's now stuck at 8, going up to 9 upgrades. Still just +1, but does have armor on them. Now, if you're fighting Woads, you need to be very careful. This guy attacks on. Let's compare the stats to a long swordsman because we are in Castle Age, so might as well compare a Castle Age unit to a Castle Age unit. 9 at base attack to 11. At least the long swordsman comes with a 1 base melee armor. Attack speed should be 2 on both of them. So one has a bit more armor, one attacks a little bit more, but look at the HP. 10 extra HP for the Woad Raider means that it survives. Its survivability is much better, lot more longevity to the unit than the swordsman. Especially if you lose them to conversions. Okay, good time for us to disengage as Mysterio looks like he's running back home. Maybe not. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I really do want to see. I apologize. 1, 2, 3, 4 town centers for our Celtic castle. But beyond the initial infrastructure of the archery range, barracks, and stable that we saw, he's added a siege workshop, but beyond that, not much. So Hera's going very much castle play, which, to be honest, you're producing the stronger unit, but you are limited in your production compared to your Dravidian opponent who has 3 barracks, only 3 town centers though. What's the villager count? Mysterio's now down 8 villagers. He's down about 10%. He does have a converted Woad. As the players disengage, as the Woad leads his former friends on a chase. Hey guys, let's go out into the Nevada desert, get some peyote, and meet our spirit animals, he says, but they have other plans. They are not here for a light jaunt in the desert. They want nothing to do with his drug-addled brain. They gun him down, just as Mr. Yo should be able to take this fight. Oh, I neglected the town center, which has 19 kills. Wow, okay. So the MVP for Hera so far is the town center. These Woad Raiders, I guess, doing an amazing job softening up the opposing units, and then the town center gets the kill. Yeah, look at them. 5 of them have 1 kill, as opposed to the town center that has 19 kills. Okay. So these guys are taking the brunt of the force, but then meeting out The justice, the death is our town center. By the way, that town center, no, the one to the forward position, very cocky, our Celt. Not researching Imperial out of here, which is probably more advisable. He is researching it out of here, which is also, by the way, stopping him from training villagers to go after this gold. So, I mean, I'm obviously not gonna criticize or question Hera's decision making as he goes up to a 6th town center. Actually, no, sorry, a 5th. I got very excited there. I thought maybe we're gonna get to see a Celtic revolution where every single villager turns into a Woad Raider. Mysterio finally getting up his castle. He's still, or rather, a second oh goodness, a second castle. When all the action is focused on one player's base, sometimes I do apologize. I do miss on the mini map things going up, things going down. Not to sound pervy at all. Mysterio, by the way, sees the relic being taken by the Celt. Hera will now have 3 relics to 0. Has Mysterio seen? Oh my goodness. He hasn't even seen the Hakuna Matata relic here to the right immediate side of his base. And where's the last one? I don't see the 5th relic on the map, which means it's in the hands of a blue monk somewhere. And a blue monk that's headed... Here's one blue monk. No, there's only one blue monk. What am I missing here? Does Mr. Yo have it? Yeah, he does. Okay, sorry. I assumed I assumed the Hera had it. Okay, so now he's going to... Now he sees it with the well-placed mill. And he moves forward. He is also heading up to Imperial a minute away. So Hera, first to castle, first to Imperial. Has so far used his advantage quite well. He's going up to Elite Woad Raider. Let's see the battle between Elite Woad Raiders. And let's see Elite Arumis with their plus 15 attack. Their HP is nowhere close to the Woad Raider, whose stats are going to get a little bit beefed up once he goes Elite in 15 seconds. But look at that charge attack. Plus 12 for the base model, then plus 15 for the Elite. And unlike the Custelier, who you have to wait, I believe, 40 seconds... These ones change every 20, or rather recharge, not change. Recharge every 20 or 24 seconds. So it's a little bit quicker. Ooh, here we go, here we go. They don't know it yet, but they are setting up for one of the coolest infantry battles of all time. And remember, that charge attack does 0.75 tiles of blast damage. Woad Raider now has 85 HP, 14 base attack. The Urumis head south. Conscription, plate mail armor, elite. Will they be elite by the time they get here? Hera sees them coming out of the ether. He's stuck. He wants to get the monastery. Oh no, get out from behind the monastery. Oh, don't do this to us. Do it for the viewers. 2 Urumis pivot south. 1 gets converted. And Hera runs away. No! I wanted to see a big battle. Here we go. Oh, it's the blue converted Urumi who bites the dust. I wanted to see a big battle of infantry, but Hera denies it. Goes up to Onager, though. Okay. So players disengage yet again. Hera continues to destroy infrastructure. Hasn't seen the houses being built here by Mysterio's villager who, okay, managed at the 39 minute mark of the game to sneak in a villager. I thought I saw a castle going up here. No, never mind. He decides to relocate it. So both players are going castle build with the exception of a siege onager. Oh my goodness. All right. Does he have Furor Celtica? Did he add 40% more HP? No, he does not. Not yet. He's also roiding up his infantry with plate mail armor. He's getting siege engineers for these siege onagers, adding extra range so they can kill those Urumis a little bit quicker from a little bit further away. It looks like the villager did bite the dust here. Hera exploring and finding this pile of gold, which looks like Mysterio tried to lame with houses. No! No! I'm so angry right now. I was looking at a house while Mysterio got pancaked. There's Woot Steel. We've seen Hera absolutely wreck players with his onagers. I am so sorry. That might have definitely gonna have seen that in picture, but man, am I upset with myself. Now Mysterio moves in here. He wants to get these villagers. Maybe the zebra, but the castle's already up. Doesn't matter. These villagers are gonna die in the blink of an eye. Woots. Let's go over again the absolute insanity of the Urumi swordsman when fully upgraded. Charge attack plus 15, which doesn't spend itself against structures, by the way. So these guys still have their charge attack. So that's number one. Number two, blast damage on the charge attack. And number three, Woot's Steel, which means that they ignore armor entirely. How absolutely insane is this unit when fully upgraded? Oh, what it can't take on, though. Now Hera gives us an infantry versus infantry when he outnumbers his opponent 17-2. He feels comfortable enough to take the fight. And here we go. Urumi's flailing in the desert sands. What's happening up top here? What an awesome attack animation as well out of this unit. Looks like the castle and some Woad Raiders did manage to kill a few Urumis there. As a bunch of them pivot north, they're finally going to catch a mangonel. Ah, Hera gets a bunch of cell phones. Self-owns, not cell phones like Nokia. Does Nokia still make cell phones? I don't know. I don't think I've seen a Nokia cell phone in 15 years. 35 kills, 5 of them friendly fire, so about 15%, which is okay. Urumis continue pushing in, but a castle well placed by Hera, who has murder holes, by the way. And now he's going to have ballistics. Hera's castles are fantastically anchoring his base. To the north, he's got 2. To the south, he's got 2. The center is protected by this absolute great white blue shark of mangonels, 35 kills still. And now a bit of a sister castle situation developing here as our Dravidian lays siege to the south. Might want to put your mangonels here, or your trebuchets here, so that they're not on the low ground. But he's charging in. He must know that his opponent has murder holes. And in 14 seconds, he's going to have hoardings. Not quick enough to save this castle. Attack bonus against buildings, +4. Okay. Now, I like the Mysterio with the slower moving infantry, fair enough. He's still abusing the lack of mobility of the siege onager. And to be honest, let me know in the comments, agree or disagree. This is going to be a very interesting take, okay? Get ready for it. I'm very, very proud of myself right now. This may be one of the only times where I think, are you ready for it? Our Dravidians should go light cavalry. These siege onagers, as they journeyed south, were completely exposed as they are now. Woot's Steel light cavalry for the Dravidians would decimate this onager count. Now remember, the Dravidians, just to recap, why do I say they have the absolute worst? Looks like the back of Hera's base is being raided, as is the front, with a bunch more Urumis. Now, why did I say the Dravidians have probably the worst cavalry line in the game? They don't get hussars, so they're stuck at light cav, which you might be thinking, okay, that's at least better than Teutons. Finally, we're getting to see it. Oh my goodness, that wasn't fair at all. Actually, wait a second, that's very fair. That is about as fair an infantry fight as you can get. Hera survives with 3 ridiculously weak Woad Raiders. Oh my god, that was so much fun. That was so much fun to watch. Ooh, by the skin of his teeth, this one Treb survives. So why did I say Dravidians have the worst? They don't have hussars, so they're stuck at light cav, which again beats the Teutons, who are stuck at scouts. But they also don't get husbandry, they don't get bloodlines, and they don't get the 3rd armor upgrade for all of that. That being said, if you're Hera, you're keeping your Woads very close to the siege, but you can't keep them that close at all times. Sometimes they're going to have to be fighting elsewhere. My goodness, look at how much HP. I think you just took out 400 HP of from those units. But instead of surrounding these with Urumis, imagine, I'm assuming at some point the Woads are going to charge into the Trebs once the castle goes down. At that point, imagine a whole bunch of, maybe 5 or 6 light cavalry units popping out of the ether up here to the north. And then all of a sudden, your onagers are gone. And it's actually not terrible for the Dravidians because they don't have hussars, they don't have to pay the ridiculous cost of that upgrade. So they just have to pay the super cheap upgrade to go from scout to light cav. And then with Woot's Steel, even attacking as weak as they do on what, like a 8 or a 9? Oh, but there is Fure Celtica on the Siege Onager. Okay. So he jumped up from 70 HP to 98, which makes him a little bit safer from Woot's Steel. On the whole, don't get me wrong, the Urumi is obviously the better unit. Look at its attack. 29 attack that ignores armor is better than a freaking Latus. Is better than a fully surrounded and upgraded Manaspa. But still, the mobility of that unit is just allowing Hera to gun them down left, right, and center. 64 kills and still just 5 friendly fire. That is an epic ratio there for our Celt, who is now laying siege to the southern castle and the gold mine that our Dravidian doesn't really need. Look at Mr. Yo's gold count. He's got 3,000 gold. Now, that's not going to mean very much if you keep wasting your Urumis on these siege onagers, which have now racked up 77 kills. Still just a 5 friendly fire. Mr. Yo retorts, though. He is slowly but surely making progress here to the north as he keeps this onager force. And again, look, they're on their own, unsupported. Tell me 6, 7, 10 light cavalry units with Wood Steel wouldn't have the time of their life running straight into those siege onagers. Okay, I'm gonna stop beating a dead horse. Mr. Yo obviously doesn't agree with me. Now he's getting upgrades for his castles. He himself does not have murder holes, which means these Woad Raiders are going to be very safe and feeling very good killing these villagers. Lacking murder hole here has doomed this entire southern expansion to death. He has sentenced all of those villagers to death, missing one simple upgrade that I, again, will never understand why. I get it. I've heard the stories, I've heard the tales of the comments made about murder holes. I will never understand why players choose to ignore a specific upgrade that's available in the game. Oh, God. Oh my God, 91 kills, still just 5 friendly fire. The Urumis close in. Hera doesn't care. He'll trade a single ram for 10 Urumis. That's a good trade for him. Ooh, predicting wrong where Mr. Yo's gonna pivot. And now the Woad Raiders are doing to these Trebs what I think those light caps should be doing to the siege onagers. This again might be the only time I ever say the Dravidian needs to go light cav with Wood Steel. Overkill much. Hera had it in for that one Urumi who he absolutely wrecks. Okay, now he's in box formation, making it a little bit harder. He doesn't know what's coming out of the ether, so keep them safe. Better safe than sorry. And he's just gonna keep leading these Urumi to their death. If you've noticed, he moves in with his Woads. Mr. Yo chases. Hera retreats with the Woads straight into the fiery balls of his onagers. And then Mr. Yo just loses a whole bunch of units. But our Celt says enough is enough. I'm tired of all the little funny games and tricks and sniping your units and drawing them in. I have 107 kills, 8 friendly fire, still less than 10%. Now it is time for the Celts to do what Celts do best, which is lift up their pantaloons and go full frontal, full mayhem on their opponents. 2 relics get jettisoned out of that monastery right quick. Now Hera also, by the way, has to be very careful. Oh no, oh no, oh no! He has to be very careful because the siege onager, as powerful and as cool as it is, can kill his army just as quickly, especially if he uses his Woads to attack structures or even rams, because that friendly fire will kill all of that. Oh my God, so much death. It looks like the count has been whittled down to a 4 here. He does have 9. Where are the 9? Mr. Yo, by the way, managing to secure, rather re-secure the hill. Hera has no army down here. The only army that he has is heading north, but does he need it? Oh, Rumis are running amok. Does he need an army here at all? Because now he's got his 9 onagers here. That is so gross. That is so sour. Add in some cavalry. Don't tunnel vision into the Urumi play. Or at least, like now, add some bombard cannons. Do the Dravidians get siege engineers? No, I don't think they do. Although against this 9 range onager, not exactly necessary. A single hero Urumi tries to take on the Celtic horde and gets exactly what was coming to him as yet another castle falls. Our Dravidian base has been cracked open like a Kinder egg, a Kinder surprise egg. And with that surprise, hey, you know what popped out of that Kinder egg? A big fat loss for our Dravidian, who gets pressed in way too much. Like I said, Hera done with the games, done with bouncing like a ping pong with his siege onagers back and forth, decides to go full on frontal after clearing up the southern infrastructure, after securing his northern perimeter from the Urumi swarm. And Mysterio just can't compete with this. What the hell can you do against these onagers that seem to just have the prescient ability? Maybe they're on spice. Maybe they've just come back from Arrakis and they know what the future holds, and they know exactly where your units are going to be, because every single shot of these onagers seems to have killed more and more and more Urumis. 121 kills, 8 friendly fire. This is a study in how to use siege onagers. Absolutely epic siege onager play out of Hera, who kept these Woad Raiders, by the way, nice and close, so that these Urumis, even if a few of them got through, could not get the onagers. Now, to be fair, Mysterio did kind of just move his Urumis left and right. I don't remember seeing so far the game's over. I don't remember seeing any fancy micro out of him, splitting them up into 2 army groups, 3 army groups, staggering them. I think he just kept moving in a clump, which is why those onagers have a ridiculous triple-digit kill count. But what a fun game. I think, I'm going to say it for the third and last time, a few light cavalry units with Urumi. Oh my goodness, with the Woot Steel. The Woad Raiders are fast. They're not going to catch up to light cav. Even light cav that's missing husbandry, which actually, you know what? They actually might catch up to the light cav that's missing husbandry. They move at a 1.38 tiles a second. It's pretty darn fast. Second only to the Eagle, the Elite Eagle, I should say. But imagine all of a sudden a few men on horses descending from this hill up top here. They are absolutely going to rickety wreck these onagers. So perhaps the only time in the history of the Dravidians where it might be valuable to go stable techs, since especially, I mean, forget the armor. Treat them like treat them like the Tatar Flaming Camel, the Petard. Treat them like suicide units that are just there to explode against the onagers and then absolutely bite the dust. And Mr. Yo, 59 villagers on food would allow him to train a good quantity of those light cavalry. But in any event, doesn't really matter. We are not living in an alternate universe when that could have and did happen. We are living in a universe where Mr. Yo, even though he's got amazing map vision, Hera brings forth even a monastery so he can secure all 5 relics. Unfortunately, our Dravidian just tunnel visioned onto those Urumis. He wanted to take a fight. We saw the fight. I think it was... Where the hell was it? I think it was on this hill. That fight was absolutely epic once we finally got to see it. But I think Hera realized that the fight between the Urumi and the Woad is a little bit too close to call. The Woad attacks on an 18. The Urumi attacks on a 10 and then an extra 15. So once that 15 charge attack is gone, he jumps down to 14. But remember, 14, that ignores armor. And so even with the 20 extra HP, I don't know, the math, I would have to spend a bit more time on the math, because the Urumi charge attack would spend itself out. But the bottom line is, I think Hera realized that the infantry versus infantry battle might be a little bit too close for comfort. And so he just kept the Woad Raiders surrounding the onagers at all times, kept drawing Mysterio again and again and again into the fire of those onagers. Not that Mysterio didn't just send his Urumis to die on his own, but Hera helped them a little bit. And Mysterio just never got to take that big infantry versus infantry engagement that he may win. Instead, what he got was a whole bunch of dead clumps of Urumis, although he did do a little decent amount of damage. And by decent amount, take a look at the bottom right of your screen. He killed 110 Celtic villagers. Hera only killed 36. But look at the rest of the numbers. 282 kills to 471. Hera, almost 200 more kills than his opponent. What are you, Mr. Red Dot? How the hell are there 2 Urumis here with 3 kills? I don't know how the hell they got here, but they are just waiting at the edge of terra firma for instructions from the command center to go and attack and kill villagers. But it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, our Celt has a bit more of an economy and 30 more army supply. But I don't think that even is relevant. What he has is these. And Mysterio is probably psychologically drained after spending 3,000 freaking gold 3,000 gold he spent to try to get these Urumi swordsmen to close on the mangonels. And sometimes he did, most of the times he didn't. Let's take a look at the stats. 371 Urumis can absolutely, I think, destroy 157 Woad Raiders. Swordsmen, skirmishers. Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy. 18 Siege Onagers probably got, what, like 200 kills out of this 471. PKPM for Mysterio towards the end of the game. PKPM for Hera towards the beginning of the game. Let's take a look at the economies. I can't imagine they're that far apart. Relic Gold, even though Hera ended the game with all 5, he did have only 3 to 2 for most of the game. He is 1,100, almost exactly 1,100 extra gold. Trash resources for our Celt. No surprise with the wood. They're faster lumberjacks. Food almost identical. Gold almost identical. Stone almost identical. And so at the end of the day, what are we working with here? About an 8,000, less than 10% of an economic difference between the two players. Conversions, 9 out of 417, 3 out of 226. Not really the crazy numbers. Sorry, I think I used the word not the crazy numbers. No, not crazy numbers. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I catch myself when I speak improperly or incorrectly. And it does take my brain a good old second to recalibrate from the mistake. 30 raisings versus 17. Hera lost 18, which either is a friendly fire or he deleted one of his own structures somehow. I don't know. I'm assuming friendly fire from those onagers because it's a pretty safe assumption when you've got this insane unit. But on the whole, Mr. Yo just could not close on this. And with this, I don't know, can you guys hear that sound? With this crazy unit, with its Führer Celtica 98 HP and the ever-present swarm of Woad Raiders protecting it, Hera just managed to stop all of Mr. Yo's attempts to the south, to the north. Another castle goes up, and then finally able to focus his forces on a full frontal. He destroys castles, destroys barracks, and Mr. Yo, even though he's left with 2 castles, he doesn't even have enough gold. Urumis are not exactly the most expensive. To be honest, Woad Raiders also not the most expensive. I think they're almost identical in price in terms of the 60, 65 food, 20, 25 gold. I think they're almost identical. And so even though we didn't get to see the climactic giant infantry battle that yours truly may have wanted to see, what's also fun is seeing 121 splattered units all over the map, and Hera just protected these death dealers a little bit too carefully. The Urumis couldn't close, they couldn't do any damage on the other side of the map, and Mysterio just runs out of gold. Hera's resources are ridiculous in terms of trash resources, and Mysterio's base, like I said, kinder surprised, and out pops 3 trebuchets, and with that kinder surprise, it is Hera, our Celt, who takes the W, but GG in a ridiculously fun and splatter-filled game to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.